The Pajero has a long and storied history in the Philippines. It was the vehicle of choice for politicians. Back in the 90s, it was a status symbol. This right here is the third generation of the Pajero. It was first introduced in Japan in 1999. Here in the Philippines, it was introduced in 2003 and was sold until 2006. The name Pajero was actually derived from the scientific name of the pampas cat, which was Leopardus pajeros. But the word Pajero can have a derogatory meaning in some Spanish-speaking countries, so in those territories, it was named the Montero. In the US, it was called the Shogun. The biggest change compared to previous generations is that it's now based on a unibody construction. It's no longer a body-on-frame design like most SUVs of this size. It's like an overgrown crossover on steroids. Despite the loss of the ladder chassis, third gen has about 300% more torsional rigidity compared to the previous generation. It is bigger than the previous generation. It has been moved one size up from mid-size to full-size SUV. It has also been moved slightly more upmarket to compete with the Land Cruiser. The vehicle has a fully independent rear suspension, also a fully independent front suspension. It uses Mitsubishi's Super Select 4-wheel drive 2 system. The third generation Pajero was offered with either of two engines, a 3.8-liter V6 petrol engine, which produces 217 horsepower. This particular Pajero right here has a diesel engine. It is a 3.2-liter diesel, which produces 175 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque. Because it's a diesel, it's very fuel efficient. The body design still looks very familiar. It is still recognizably a Pajero, but the lines and the curves have been blended together to give it a more modern look. It also looks more muscular now. It is wider, and the fender flares are more pronounced. I like how the contours of the fender blend into the hood. The vehicle has a very short front overhang, which gives it a high angle of approach. The whole design language reminds me of a snub-nosed bulldog, muscular, wide, and flat-faced. Okay, this is the Pajero's interior. As you can see, I have a gaping hole in my dashboard right now. I'm still waiting for my 2-din head unit to arrive. It should arrive in a couple of days. On the instrument panel, you have a speedometer, tachometer, fuel gauge, temperature gauge. This one displays which wheels are active. Currently, it's in 2x4 mode. And this one displays if any of your doors are open. The vehicle has wood accents on the steering wheel. Most of the interior is made of hard plastics, but it doesn't feel cheap. It feels rugged. Thick plastics all around. And I love the shifter. It's big, it's beefy. This one is for selecting 2x4 or 4x4 modes. What else? The car has a driver's side airbag and a passenger side airbag. Fabric seats. Of course, it has power windows. Power side mirrors, which are manually retractable. Since this is an imported unit from Japan, the turn signal stock is on the right side of the steering wheel. Also the light switch. And then the stock for the wiper blades is on the left side. The vehicle has cruise control. The vehicle has plenty of storage. You have two glove boxes here. One at the top and one here at the bottom. And then underneath the armrest you have plenty of storage. It is deep and it's also wide. Fabric seats with pretty interesting pattern on them. You have plenty of headroom in this car. It doesn't matter how tall you are. You can fit a family of coneheads for sure. Of course, it has air conditioning. This controls the fan speed, the modes, and also this controls the. This is the thermostat. 12-volt outlet. This one is for the rear aircon fan. The car has an automatic transmission with a manual mode. You can manually shift gears. 2 cup holders right here. Like a lot of SUVs, it has plenty of handlebars, so you'd have a lot of stuff to hold on to when you're off-roading. Okay, so my head unit finally arrived. It is a Chinese brand. Surprisingly, the build quality is not so bad. It also has plenty of features. It has a 1080p screen. There's a list of its features. It does have a USB port and an aux jack. Oh, it has Bluetooth. That's a backup camera. Here I am now in the back seat. I have plenty of legroom here. The seat is actually adjusted pretty far, but I still have plenty of legroom. And like I said before, headroom is more than sufficient. You have aircon vents here in the second row, also in the third row. Aircon controls are right here. This one is for the fan and thermostat. You also have a foldable armrest here with cup holders. This is a bench seat though, so you can't just fold one seat down, you have to fold them at the same time. Now the third row seat. I do have plenty of headroom here, but my knee room is quite limited. And because the flooring is quite high, my seating position is not as comfortable as I'd like it to be. Over here I have a 12-volt outlet and also a 100-volt outlet. Over here I have 2 cup holders and aircon vents for each passenger. The third-gen Pajero feels very civilized on the road. Almost feels like a car or a crossover. There's not a lot of body roll, I mean, for its size. Ito naman yung mga tol. Okay. Blocking my path. It should be a... Acceleration is pretty good. It feels big, and yet it feels smaller than it actually is. Looking over the front of the car, you can see massive bulges on the hood. And your sitting position is pretty high. Shifting is pretty smooth.